Wait a minute. No. I didn't say she had brain damage. She had a serious health episode. And my point was that from, I think it was the 7th of December in 2012 through the 7th of January of 2013, she underwent, first she had apparently a serious virus. They announced then on the 15th of December that she had, at some period in the past a week, fallen. They didn't say when, they didn't say where. She was recovering at home. On the 30th of December, she goes in and turns out to have had a blood clot. They won't say where. The next day, they say it is between her skull and her brain behind her right ear.
All right, folks, welcome back. And that, of course, Karl Rove causing quite a stir. Originally thought to have accused Hillary Clinton of having brain damage, and then said, no, I didn't say brain damage, and that's what he did say. He also brought up that John McCain, New York Times story, big story, said that his age and his health would be an issue. We know what they said about Ronald Reagan and his age. Well, Hillary's going to be the same age as Ronald Reagan. Joining us now to talk about that, because he wrote a great piece on it in the Washington Times today, is our friend Charles Hurd. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
I'm all right. So let's see. Bringing this up, does this make Karl Rove a racist, bigot, homophobe, anti-woman? What does it make him?
Well, definitely anti-woman, misogynist, I think is the correct term.
How dare he ask this question?
And racist, to be sure.
Yeah. This is, you wrote a great piece, and you're right. I think Hillary would, to a great extent, tax Sigmund Freud.
It wouldn't. I mean, how much fun would it be if just we could forego all the degrees and everything like that. Just let me evaluate her. I would love to have her on a sofa and sit there with a little notepad, like I'm talking to James Gandolfini, and just go through a long interview and maybe even hypnotize her. We could find out how the Rose law firm records mysteriously appeared. All the things we could get answers to. We could just ask her some questions. And I personally, I am not a qualified psychiatrist, but I would like to volunteer my services.
All right, now what Karl Rove brought up, I mean, I don't know if he did conservatives or Republicans a favor by bringing this up now, and then Hillary could say later on it was all addressed. But do you think she will? The assumption is by some that she will. Like Joe Conason yesterday said to me, "Oh, she'll release her health records. She has to." And I said, "I don't know. We didn't see Obama's health records, all of them. We didn't see his college records. We didn't see his travel records. So I don't know that she has to do anything."
Well, I think that you have your answer in looking at the way the media sprang on this thing from Karl Rove. I mean, it is amazing how the blowback that he got, that he faced from this. When as you pointed out at the beginning, these are fairly routine questions that get asked someone who's running for the highest office of the land, who's going to have their finger on the most powerful battery of nuclear weapons in the world, and have at their command the most powerful military in the world. These are legitimate questions. And when you get into questions about especially problems with in the brain and things of that nature, it gets very, very important. And so it was maybe the way it was reported was an inartful way of talking about it or whatever. But the bottom line is it's a fairly mundane, routine thing to be asking about. But my goodness, Steve, the way the media came down on him like a hammer.
Yeah.
And I think it reveals just how much blowback I think anybody faces if they really do press on these questions and try to get to the bottom of it. So I think that we don't at this point we don't know what she's going to release, but I know this: she'll have plenty of protection if she decides not to release any of this stuff.
Right, at least one. I was listening to all the sound bites I put together, and I don't remember who said it because I didn't use it today, but somebody on MSNBC probably or somewhere said, this is sexist.
Yeah, I guess the truth of the matter, what their argument is that there should be a different standard for if you're a woman candidate than if you're a male candidate, because goodness knows, everybody that's ever run for president has had to deal with this questions about this sort of thing. And if this is suddenly going to become off limits, then it must just be that there is a second set of rules if you're a woman running for president. But something also tells me that if this were Sarah Palin, for example, I don't think that anyone would have rushed to Sarah Palin's defense on this one.
Are you kidding? They would have every word that came out of her mouth, they would have said, well, that explains it, and they would, please. I could see it now. I could see Tina Fey now. Let's talk about. There's a story today, linked on Drudge. From the Daily Mail, Mike McCurry, the former press secretary for the Clintons, saying that he doesn't think that Hillary's going to run.
Yeah, and I think you and I have talked about this before. Usually I'm sort of like I'm the slowest guy in the class all the time.
I doubt that, but go ahead.
I can see a lot of scenarios where she doesn't run. She is older. She has a lot of reasons. She's got a great life that she has around her that she can enjoy. Running for office is a brutal thing. She has been doing it either for herself or for her husband for decades now. And the biggest thing of all that I keep coming back to is that there was a time when everyone told Hillary Clinton that she should run. The nomination is hers for the asking. She will be the next president. All she has to do is say yes, and that was in 2008 or 2007. And look what happened. And Hillary Clinton's biggest enemies have to admit that she's a very smart, cagey, tough woman. And I just don't see how someone who is as smart and tough and cagey as Hillary Clinton, that isn't sort of barking in the back of her mind that, man, we could go through all this again, and it'll all end with her giving a rousing speech about putting a few more cracks in the glass ceiling because some far left liberal has jumped in, who might even be a woman, and snatched the Democratic nomination away from her.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, anything's possible. I just think that, how much more, how much money does one person need? I mean, the speaking she's done this year alone is enough money to live off of for a long, long time if she's getting that $250, $300 grand a pop, because she's speaking like every single day. And I just, she's out there. She's got the book tour coming up. I just wonder why she's, why, if she was ill, and she was ill for, and her daughter's pregnant now, why, if she wasn't going to run for president, and she may not know, then why be out there every day going through this now? Why not just go hide now?
I wonder about that too. And obviously, as you point out, the Clinton Global Initiative group, they're literally printing money. And and there are all these questions about how it gets spent and where it goes and who it pays for and stuff like that. And it has a smaller footprint in terms of actual distribution of charity to needy causes. But you're right. It at some point you'd think that she that she would give up on it. But I also think that the Clintons have never known anything. I mean, if you think about what a sort of strange life they've lived, and what a strange life Chelsea has grown up in.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. When you said she's done this for decades, campaigning either for her husband or herself, I was going to say kind of like that's all she knows, and that's why she's going to continue. You could look at it that way too, unless she feels she's not up to it. That would be probably the only reason not to do it, because the prize is tempting. You got to admit.
Yeah. But I also think, to be sure, that she is smart enough to know that no matter what, at this point in 2014,
yeah.
Her most important thing for her right now is to at least keep that option open. And so I think she's going through all the paces, and of course far smarter people than me that are smarter about how basically how cynical the Clintons really are. they all say, "Oh no, she's going to definitely run. There's no doubt about it." And I bet if I had to actually bet money, I would give it to those people and let them bet it for me, because they're usually more right than I am. But I don't think she has made up her mind, and I think that she is doing everything to keep her options open. But I also, just something deep down tells me that at the end it's just going to be too awful to pull the trigger. And as much as you and I, Steve, we see all the media that just goes to extraordinary lengths to sort of protect them, and she does have a sort of twisted relationship with the media, because as much as we see them, the media covering for her and coming to her defense all the time, the truth of the matter is she still despises the media. I mean, the media is like it's like they're in an abusive relationship.
Yeah,
and it's just as they are with Obama. President Obama fairly well, I think, despises most of the people in the media, as they just slavishly work to cover for him.
We're going to play. I've been counting down 20 of Barbara Walters' lowest hits, greatest hits. The Media Research Center put it out because she's leaving The View this Friday. And I just listen to well, we don't have time. I'll just tell you what she said. She was on with Barbara Walters as the most fascinating person of 2012. This aired December of 2012, so a year and a half ago. And she sat there and laughed and said, "I have no intention of running for president. I'm not running for president." and here we are a year and a half later, and it's all but assumed, and she jokes about it, and she hints at it, and she gives a wink on stage that she is running. So I don't know. I mean, if I had to bet, I'd bet she's going to run, but I wouldn't bet gratuitously.
But what a strange persona to have developed over decades in public life, that as emphatically as you say something over and over again,
it turns
everyone
out not
just
to be true,
assumes
right?
that you're either lying or being or calculating or doing something to sort of spin the truth. That's just the assumption. And I think that says an awful lot about what we have seen from the Clintons.
No, very, very
for all
good
this
point.
time.
Folks, go check out the column at WashingtonTimes.com. Charles, always great to talk to you, sir. We'll speak to you next time.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Charlie Hurt, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Yeah, look, I just assume she's going to run. That's just my guess. Charles makes great, valid points, and what he says makes sense. But I just think she came close before. I think this has been the goal of hers her whole life. I believe that's one of the reasons the marriage stayed together during the darkest of times. She was a senator. She was Secretary of State. She was ill. She had a blood clot between her brain and her skull. She could have slowed down. She could have been resting. She could have been sunning herself on an island for the last 18 months or 6 months or 3 months. She's not. She's out there greasing the skids. That's how I see it. Who knows? The panel might know. They're next on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax.